Hi Reds, welcome back to another massive Manchester United transfer and squad update. Because things are getting seriously busy at Old Trafford with the transfer deadline now approaching. Manchester United are not finished yet. And if the latest reports are anything to go by, the club are still working behind the scenes on several major pieces of business. A striker, a midfielder, a left-back, and potentially even another centre-back could all be on the agenda, while there is also growing uncertainty surrounding Joshua Zirkzee's future. So, what exactly is happening at Manchester United right now? And could we be about to see another dramatic few days before the transfer window slams shut? Let's start with the striker situation, because this could become one of the biggest stories of the final days of the window. According to multiple reports from top-tier sources, Manchester United remain interested in Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Mateta, with reports even claiming that United have already submitted an official offer for the French forward. If that information proves accurate, then Mateta could potentially become the man brought in to replace Joshua Zirkzee if the Dutch striker leaves Old Trafford this summer. And I have to say, Reds, Mateta is a very interesting profile for Manchester United. He is 29 years old, he is Premier League proven, he has the physical presence to occupy centre-backs, and he gives you that traditional number 9 presence that Manchester United have arguably been missing at times. He is the sort of striker who can stretch a defence, battle with physical defenders, hold the ball up, attack crosses, and give the midfielders a proper target inside the penalty area. He may not be the glamorous superstar signing that gets everyone jumping out of their seats. But football is not always about signing the biggest name. Sometimes you need a proper footballer who fits the system. And that is where Mateta becomes an intriguing option. Manchester United need goals, yes, but they also need a striker who can bring balance to the attack. With players capable of creating chances around him, having a powerful centre-forward who can occupy defenders could make a huge difference. Imagine Mateta pinning 2 defenders back while Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Matheus Cunha, or the wide players attack the spaces around him. Could that be exactly the kind of profile Michael Carrick wants? But here is the big question. Would you actually take Jean-Philippe Mateta at Manchester United? For me, it depends massively on the price. If Crystal Palace demand an outrageous fee simply because Manchester United are involved, I would stay away. But if United can negotiate a sensible deal for an experienced Premier League striker entering his peak years, then I can understand the logic. The club cannot afford another expensive signing who does not fit the football. They need players who can come in and make an immediate impact. Now, this brings us directly to Joshua Zirkzee. In the last 24 hours, Fiorentina have reportedly become significantly more confident that Zirkzee is open to leaving Manchester United and wants to join them. The Italian club are believed to be keen to get the deal done quickly because they fear that other clubs could enter the race if the situation remains open for too long. Fiorentina reportedly held a call with Zirkzee 3 days ago to make their pitch, and the player is said to have indicated that he would prefer a move outside the Premier League and likes the idea of playing in Serie A. Interestingly, Fiorentina initially believed that Zirkzee could simply be using their interest as leverage to remain at Manchester United. But the situation now appears to be changing. If Zirkzee genuinely wants to leave, then Manchester United have a decision to make. Do they keep him and give him another opportunity under Michael Carrick? Or do they allow him to return to Italy and use the money to bring in a striker whose profile is more suited to the Premier League? Personally, I think this is a fascinating situation. Zirkzee has ability, no doubt about it. But football at Manchester United is about pressure, consistency, and delivering when the shirt is heavy. If the player believes his future is elsewhere, and United can recover a significant part of the investment, perhaps moving him on and bringing in a more traditional number 9 could make sense. But Reds, would you sell Zirkzee this summer? Or do you still believe Manchester United should give him another season to prove himself? And while all of this is happening, there is another fascinating name being mentioned in connection with Manchester United, Jorge Salinas. Reports claim that personal terms are done between Manchester United and Salinas, with secret talks with his representatives already completed. The major obstacle now is reportedly the €16 million release clause. The question is whether Manchester United are prepared to trigger it. If United do trigger that clause, then this could be another piece of business that moves very quickly. And considering the number of positions Manchester United are currently trying to strengthen, the club will need to be extremely efficient in these final days. But perhaps the biggest left-back story remains Alejandro Balde. Manchester United reportedly want to sign Balde on a season-long loan with an option to buy, provided Barcelona are willing to allow him to leave and the player himself wants the move. Barcelona reportedly value the left-back somewhere around £26 million to £34 million. United sources are playing down the chances of the deal happening, but Barcelona have apparently been made aware of Manchester United's interest. Now this is where things get interesting. Balde is exactly the kind of player Manchester United could be tempted to take a chance on. He has pace, athleticism, technical ability, and the ability to operate high up the pitch. If United could secure him on loan with an option to buy, it would potentially reduce the immediate financial pressure while giving Carrick a dynamic left-back who could transform the balance of the team. But should United really spend money on another left-back when there are so many other positions requiring attention? That is the debate. Would you rather Manchester United spend £30 million on a permanent left-back, or take Balde on loan with an option and preserve funds for the striker and midfield positions? For me, a loan-to-buy arrangement could be smart business if the conditions are right. Meanwhile, there is finally some encouraging news on the injury front. Mason Mount and Matthijs de Ligt have reportedly resumed full training with the squad ahead of this weekend's Premier League clash with Ipswich Town at Old Trafford. That is certainly positive news, although Reds should not get carried away because de Ligt is still not considered ready to play. Mount's situation will be particularly interesting. Manchester United desperately need quality and creativity in midfield, and if Mount can finally get a sustained run of fitness, he could become an important player for Carrick. Amad Diallo, however, remains absent as the medical team continue to assess the extent of his injury. That is another frustrating blow because Amad was expected to play an important role this season. And then there is Carlos Baleba. Manchester United's new midfielder has arrived with huge expectations, but his injury situation is now one of the key talking points ahead of Sunday's game. Michael Carrick is expected to provide the latest fitness update, including the expected length of Baleba's absence and whether Mason Mount will be available. Honestly, Reds, when are Manchester United going to have a fully fit squad? Every time one player returns, another player seems to disappear from the treatment room. That is football, of course, but it is incredibly frustrating when you are trying to build a new team and establish a consistent starting 11. Imagine Carrick actually having every major player available at the same time. Imagine having Baleba, Mount, Bruno Fernandes, Cunha, the new defensive options, and the full attacking group all available. That is when we might finally start seeing what this Manchester United side is truly capable of. Now let's move to another huge name, Eduardo Camavinga. Manchester United have reportedly made contact in the last 48 hours to ask about the availability of the Real Madrid midfielder. Real Madrid are reportedly willing to listen to offers for the 23-year-old Frenchman if a good proposal arrives, and a figure of around £50 million has reportedly been discussed. Now, this one would get the Old Trafford faithful excited. Camavinga is a serious footballer. His athleticism, ball-carrying ability, defensive work, composure and versatility would give Manchester United another dimension in midfield. He is capable of playing as a defensive midfielder, central midfielder, and even filling in at left-back when required. Could he be the missing piece? Manchester United have already strengthened the midfield, but if the club genuinely believes another midfielder is required, Camavinga would be a very different level of addition. However, there is one obvious problem: Real Madrid. Getting a player out of Madrid is never simple, especially a player of Camavinga's quality and age. Even if Madrid are willing to listen, Manchester United would need to convince the player, the club, and potentially the wider football project that Old Trafford is the right destination. Would Camavinga choose Manchester United right now? That is the million-pound question. United are reportedly expected to sign a midfielder, left-back and striker before the transfer window closes. If all three positions are strengthened, then this could be one of the busiest endings to a transfer window we have seen in years at Old Trafford.